Hi, good morning, Danielle.
Hi, Durga.
I'm very pleased to have you in my space and that you followed the invitation. I think we are both really fans of prayer. So what do you think if each of us speaks a prayer first before we start our conversation?
Sure. Okay, you go first.
I go first. I go first. I pray that God's light sparkles in our heart and shines so bright that we inspire others to do the same, to make the world a better place.
Beautiful. So my prayer is just one word: shine. Shine.
Om Namah Shivaya is my prayer all the time. So, hello Danielle. I think I will introduce you to On the Female Grail, but I think nobody on the Female Grail does not know you because I'm writing about you all the time. I mention you all the time. Because since I found you on the internet, I had a feeling I'm not alone out there. There's somebody who has a mind out there and speaking and out loud. Danielle is, you will find her on her website. It's called DanielleLaPorte.com, and she is author of the Firestarter session. And she tells mostly women to create success on her own terms. And I think you're just about to build an empire. That is what my feeling. Would you start with our conversation to talk a little bit about this? You know, I'm building up an empire.
It's been a long time in the works. I'm working right now. This is I am immersed. This is the tunnel I am in to create a program called the Desire Map. And I'm going to launch it at the end of November of this year. And it's really sort of like a lily pad, a stepping stone from what was, I think juiciest in the Firestarter Sessions book about getting clear on how you want to feel, on your true heart, on your true desires, and then using those what I call your core desired feelings to then plan your life and come up with your business plan and your strategic plan and your goal setting, because I think we have the relationship backwards. We devise these long lists of what we want out there when really everything we're going after is just to generate a certain feeling. So I think if you get clear on the feelings first, then everything changes. You go after new things, and you go after things with more meaning. And you actually bring those things closer to you. They're easier to reach.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. So you're going to launch in November. Do you already have an idea what the container will be, the form will be? Will it be a book or will it be an e-course?
Yeah. All of it.
All of it.
It's a multimedia program. So there's going to be a book component that you can download. For the first time ever, I'm going to print something myself. So you will get a book in the mail, and it will be gorgeous. And there's going to be what I'm calling declarations, which are sort of a kind of new twist on affirmations. And there's going to be, I'm embedding playlists because music is huge for me. There may be some interviews. I'm not sure about that. There will be, you'll be able to experience all of it online, and different components. It's going to be really easy to navigate. There may be an app. We're looking at that right now. It's going to be super sexy.
I'm sure, and I will be on, that's for sure. But do I get it right? You're going to be your own publisher?
Yeah, you got it.
That's news, isn't it?
That's big news, yeah, because, I've been doing my own stuff digitally for a while. I've never done anything in print, not this way. And I actually backed away from an awesome publishing deal with Random House to do this on my own. And that's very fresh. So that's in the last couple weeks. And I still want to do traditional books, and I still love my team at Crown. I adore them. But I just needed to do this. I needed to do it now, and I needed to do it the way I wanted to do it. So I said thank you, but no thank you. Well, I'll see you in the future. And I have no idea how this is going to work out. Yeah.
And you know, I think once again you're revolutionary because you have your experience with, you know, the publishing scene and book, and the scene is changing so quickly. I think, and I'm quite sure you will make new tendencies again. So is it a work together with Crown, or is it just that you say you do your own stuff?
It's me.
It's you.
It's me. Yeah. Yeah. I would love to poach my editor. I would love to help her. But yeah, I'm on my own. It's good. It's really good.
I think I can perfectly understand this. You know, I also have a book, and you know, digging into the scene, we have lots of disappointments, a lot of things going on, power plays. So I think this will be a very courageous path you're walking on. So I'm happy to hear this. Is there already a name for your publishing, or is it Danielle LaPorte Publishing.com?
Well, right now it's just me. I think someday it might be White Hot Press, but this for me is just, it's me right now. Yeah. And someday I would like to publish other people's stuff. I think that's the long vision. That's years away. Yeah. Yeah, well, you're getting a lot out of me already.
I'm curious, you know. I think my talent is being curious and asking questions. Same to the universe. You know, I have a very hard question to you because I think life is an initiation path. And I have found out, you know, going on the web, you know, and entering this network and building up our voice, there is a kind of initiation path. So my question would be, where are your stories, probably signature stories or events, you know, on your initiation path to yourself, when you started out to whitehorsetruth.com first, and now on your website Danielle LaPorte.com?
The initiation, the layers are always just about being more of myself. And so, you know, when I first started the site, and as you said, it was called White Hot Truth. That felt really compelling and magnetic, and it made sense at the time, and it's you know, I love the vibration of the name and all of that. And then what once felt really true started to feel like a gimmick. And I think, you know, as creatives, whenever something is feeling like a real gimmick, like a hook, like something that you're behind, then you need to stop it, or you need to reframe it or massage it. And I just felt like it was time to peel back the layers. And every initiation, every layer peeling requires some risk. You know, Danielle LaPorte says nothing to anybody who doesn't know me. I mean, I've got like a huge subscriber base, and that's wonderful. But this is a big internet. I want another 100,000 subscribers, and I want more, always more. But when I went to change from White Hot Truth to Danielle, people were like, I don't know, I wouldn't do that because White Hot Truth is more compelling, and if I haven't heard your name, if I don't know who you are, I'm more likely to click. And I just had to go to this place where I want it to be more, I need to just trust in the vibration of things, that people are going to click, you know, this obscure name they've never heard just because, but for some reason. And then also, in good, you know, good old-fashioned branding common sense, I want to be known for being me. And, you know, I look at my sort of business role models, even spiritual role models, and they are themselves, you know, like Eckhart Tolle is not thepowerofnow.com. He's Eckhart Tolle. You know, Donna Karan is not Kashmir. She is Donna Karan. Twyla Tharp is Twyla Tharp. So, yeah, I just wanted to be more of me, and it was time to take that risk. And I just keep taking it in different ways so I can stay fresh in life. So, you know, so after I was Danielle LaPorte, then my content, it was time to go to the next layer, the next level of my writing. So I started putting out some poems. I hadn't put out any poetry before. For 3 years, no poetry. And now I'm putting out poems. Ugh, risky. And that's working. And by working, I mean it feels good to do it. And I'm getting a response. You know, so I write because I feel called to write and speak. But this is also my business. I've got to be well received. by the majority of people I'm talking to. So if my poems were a total bomb online, I would probably maybe keep it to myself. And next is less entrepreneurship, more consciousness. I'm tired of talking about how to make money.
I love your poems. I read the one you had today, and there's a line that really touched me. It says, I know you, and I love this poem. And there is the last line: so I rest in the refugee that at the very least we are here side by side.
Yes.
I think that was for me the invitation to come to our conversation. And I think you are a poet, but I think you are also a philosophy. There is another question. For me, some people may not know, but in my early 20s, I studied literature in Vienna. And I studied philosophy, and I left this scene because I was very, very frustrated. And when I found your voice and other voices, modern voices on the internet about 3-4 years ago, I started to burn again, and this whole thing started to become interesting. My question to you would be, if you would be a professor for writing, how would you teach? How would you teach the people to write? What would be your creative tools there?
That's a twisty question, because the irony is I don't consider myself a writer. I mean, I am. It's a natural ability, and I love it. And writing is the time when I feel like there's nothing else I should be doing. I actually think of myself as more of a philosopher who just happens to write. But if I were going to be a professor of writing, I would say you need to live, and you need to think, and you need to write about what you think. I have no business teaching anything to do with fiction. I will never be writing a fiction novel. So I have nothing to say about structure or even good poetry. You have to have an opinion.
That is a very,
I would walk up to the class and just say, have an opinion, and then I would leave.
And then write it down, and make a philosopher around it, make art around it, and make some poems around it, and then we have a look what comes out.
I don't even know what good writing is. Really, not technically. I just know when something feels good. I mean, it's like a whole conversation around art. That just wanky, intellectual, what is art and what is the value of that piece? And I just I just yawner. I love it. And here's why, and here's what I see. Who's to say? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. You are a philosopher, but you have a very distinctive writing. Sometimes I just sit there and read it sentence by sentence. And for me, it's a lecture in a way, because it's not my language. You see, I have to have good role models out there, and I have a couple of them. So there's another question: who are your role models? Are there people who really inspire you actually right now? You were talking about a few who are themselves.
Yeah. I take a little bit of everybody. I'm not wired to be a devotee, so I can't go full tilt with anybody. Like little pieces of what I love. I mean, right now everybody I love is dead. Like I'm looking around. This is what I'm reading right now. I have a book on sadhus and shamans. I'm fascinated by the Indian sadhus. Oh my God. I'm reading a book by Barbara Enright called Bright-Sided, How Positive Thinking is Killing America. Oh my God, fascinating. George Lois, who's like the original madman, a book called Damn Good Advice on Creativity. I want to go see, Saul Williams. Oh, look at that beautiful, look at him. Oh, beautiful poet from New York. So it's everybody. I mean, I'm just committed to being inspired. So I'm looking everywhere all the time. And my own lesson is, whenever I'm looking, sometimes I just need I want the answer. And there's a difference between like just wanting some juice, wanting some inspiration, and thinking I want the answer. And I find when I want the answer, I go looking for it, I get disappointed. So I just need to be still. I mean, sometimes I'll pull a tarot card. I have a tarot deck app on my iPhone, which is awesome, by the way.
Oh, I like this one. I'm gonna get this.
In terms of business, you know, it's no coincidence that I adore my friends or the people who I respect the most in my genre. I'm lucky we have amazing friendships. So, you know, how Marie Forleo shows up online impeccably. Yes. You know, how Chris Carr is, you know, just committed to a wellness revolution and her own journey of thriving with cancer. You know, there's the integrity of Chris Guillebeau. There's how Jonathan Fields thinks. Yeah. And then there's this other group of just feisty women, you know, Tara Gentile and everything she's got going around entrepreneurship, and Terry Cole, who's a psychoanalyst, but really like, you know, down to earth about everything, and Elena Brower and yoga, and Gabby Bernstein, you know, her new book coming out, May Cause Miracles, really standing up as like a former addict hustler in the PR scene, talking about the Course of Miracles and her relationship with God. It's very inspiring. Yeah, I feel so blessed with these contemporaries. Really, really, really.
I think you're also one who puts them out there, you know. Many people, I think, go on your site and have a look what inspires you, and then they have a look who those people are, you know. And I think, on the other hand, I think the interesting alchemy is going on when we take something that's ancient wisdom, you know, like the Course of Miracles or other things, or sadhus, or wherever we go, and mingle it with something contemporary, you know, to make it something worth for our time and our generation. And I think you're doing...
Little person at the door.
Your son?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have school today?
He does. He should be going.
So you're not taking him to school?
His dad's home today.
Okay.
So the firefighter is taking him to school. Yeah.
Okay. You didn't want him to take into the conversation. That would be a new one too, no? Your son?
He's popped in a few times, but we have this thing about, he knows I have this philosophy that, like, I don't understand parents who, like, put their kids' photos up as their, you know, their Facebook image and stuff like that. So I've told my boy, like, if he wants that up, if he wants to be seen, I might do that someday. But like until he's 18, I feel like I really don't have his permission to use his image. And so that's in his head now. And so whenever I take a photo on my phone, he's like, "Mama, that's not going out to the world, is it?" And I'm like, "No." He needs his own agent now to kind of police everything. But yeah, I keep him away from things, because I think he deserves his privacy.
So he decides which photo goes on and which one is kept secretly in your pocket?
Goes on, you never see his face, anything I put up on Instagram or Facebook. And now he doesn't want to be seen. He is choosing his privacy. And maybe that'll change someday. I'm sure, you know, for his 11th birthday, he'll want to get on Facebook. And the answer will be no. But... yeah, I didn't want him to grow up and be like, why'd you tell my story when I was a kid? I didn't want to be out there. Yeah.
I think that's very honorable, and that's the way we should deal with children, because I mean, this soul in just a little body is already there, you know. We should leave their decisions to them. They know already.
They know already. I really think they know what's best for them. Yeah.
We're just, you know, side by side, walking side by side, recognizing each other sometimes. Yeah. And I think, oh, you know, I'm curious. Would you tell us something about your experience in New York with James Victor? Because, you know, for me, creativity, I was a graphic designer, and creativity has always driven my life. And would you like to say something about your experience, what you learned from it?
Mm-hmm. So, James Victor, graphic designer, illustrator, artist, thinker. And I think he has a permanent installation in the MoMA of some of his posters. And he taught us to have an opinion. You know, just like I would get up and say to writing students, have an opinion, that's what he hammered to us for a week. So I did a week-long sort of intensive with him called the Dinner Series. And it was the first time, because I never went to university, it was the first time I really got to approach creativity in a really intellectual container, where we would sit down and say, okay, let's intellectualize this idea. Let's imagine that you had an assignment for the New York Times on this topic. What would you say? What would you illustrate? And it's not about your illustration skills. It's about the idea behind the image that you would present to somebody. It was fabulous. And he's just, you know, James is saucy and edgy and mouth like a trucker. You know, he's a Texan. He's an enlightened Texan.
With a French name. Victor, the winner.
It was beautiful. So I have my eye on James. I want to, anything I can do to fan his flames. He's doing a one-day, I'm not sure when you're airing this, but he's doing a one-day event in New York soon, in the next couple of weeks, called Take This Job and Love It. And I think everybody should go. If you identify as being a creative or an entrepreneur, which is most of us, James Victor he's a thinker. I love him.
I like the idea, you know, to take an idea and put it in the right environment. For example, you imagine you're already in the Times Magazine, what would you say? You know, I think that sparkles the idea there. So that is a real creative, cool tool to put it in something that is inspiring us in what we would do. You know, like imagine you're on a TED Talk. Imagine what would you say? I think that's a very choosy exercise to tickle out our opinion.
Yes, that's a great point. I think, yeah, it's about imagining that you're at the height. That you are at the ultimate. So, you know, saying, you know, what would you say in a TED Talk? Perfect example, because it's different than saying, you know, what would you say to your local magazine reporter, or what would you say in your blog? But when your vision is about, you're going to play at that level, you start to think in a different way. Yeah.
I think it raises your shining also, because you go on a level and you raise your energy to be there. Because if you just play, you know, on the low playground, it doesn't raise your energy. I really like this one. Yeah. I do that very often too, but some things have to come in our mind very often to understand them really deeply. Do you have this too? I mean, I sometimes need ideas coming to me many times until my consciousness inside starts to grab them and understand them.
Yeah, repeated lessons.
Repeated lessons.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to ask you, is there anything, I have another question. You know, I'm out there on the internet, there are many good conversations, and many people call them blog. You don't like blog, I don't like blog. It's a conversation. I like the word conversation, but we haven't found a nice word around it. And I was thinking, you know, in our times, conversation gets tired very easily. For example, people get tired very easily. Is there something you think, because Facebook, you know, you start to see people get tired. Twitter, people get tired. Some blogs, people get tired. Do you have any idea? I think what the new communication and conversation tendencies are to keep this in a way blooming, you know?
That's a great observation and a big question. And I noticed that as well. It's the fatigue.
Fatigue.
It's getting noisier. I think to not be tired you need to meditate.
Yes.
I just think, in the direction things are going, noisier, more complex, more complicated, more populated, more polluted, is really going to be about your own frequency.
Yes.
And, this isn't a conversation I have often, because usually, we're talking more about, operating at this level here, as entrepreneurs, how to make your way in the world. But there's another level, which is, if you aren't awake, if you aren't breathing your own true nature, if you don't have a relationship to light, if you're not committed to being conscious, then you're going to be tired all the time. And you won't be able to filter the noise and the pollution out from what's substance and what's pure. So you just keep drinking from the fire hose unconsciously, and then you get fatigued. No Twitter, no Facebook, I'm not going to blog anymore, I'm not going to shop anymore. And I don't think it has to be that way. I don't think you need to become a purist. I don't think you need to drop out of the social media scene. You just need to become much more discerning. And you can't be discerning unless you know yourself. Practical examples for myself are, I pay attention to the things that have resonance with me. And so I don't subscribe to everything. I like to dip into things. I know that I have the power to control the information that comes into my life. So I often subscribe to things for like 3 weeks at a time. I just want to sort of be in that energy and then let it go. And we're all hungry to be seen. We're all hungry to be seen, especially when you're in this business and you make your money. My income is directly related to my visibility. Yes. We all get on the bandwagon of the trend of Twitter, Facebook. These are now becoming iconic things. They'll never go away. But there's going to be something new. I don't know what it's going to be. What's going to be Twitter or Facebook. But there's that rush of you get on. And if you're not awake, then you get tired of that journey really quick.
I think that's a great answer. I think, the secret is always we go back to ourselves and decide what we want to really be touched with. And, this can be very confusing for the people. I always have this image, it's like the universe web comes down and, is playing on our web now. And in the universe, the stars, if they would, just be in contact with all the stars, they would not feel themselves. So if they come back to themselves, and that's my image, how to surf on this internet, because it's our chance, to bring change, to bring an evolution, and not to get lost there in these waves.
It's a great visual.
So I think I have the last question now. I had it in my mind when you were talking about light. What does light have? What taste does light have for you?
What taste?
What taste?
Taste. Oh, God, what a great question. Light tastes like honeys and lemon.
And what sound?
What sound? Oh, God, it's silent. It's all sound. Like I feel like, just like all color is in white, right? Black being the absence of color. I feel like silence is all sound. Everything just gets so heard and witnessed and absorbed that there's so much space that you then have silence. But light is silent.
For me too. And I'm back to my light, it's silence. What's the texture?
The
feeling on your skin, yes.
Of like that. My new word is current. So, part of the whole desire, I'm going full circle here, but part of the whole desire system about getting clear on how you want to feel is, you just come up with 3 or 5 words, feeling words. And I've just added a new one, and one of them is current, another one is light. So light feels really buzzy and really electric and really energizing. Yeah.
What do you think is the source of light?
Oh.
Your source of light?
You and me. And, my son knocking on the door 15 minutes ago, and you know, you can call it God, you can call it true nature. I wish I knew when it all started. That's what I don't know. I almost don't want to know. I think if I knew when it all started, I would probably just combust. I don't think my human container could. I can't conduct that kind of knowledge in a body.
I think we have to digest it, isn't it? Like this way, you know. We can't just digest everything at the same time. It's like a nice meal, you know. We have to digest.
Metabolize. Metabolize is an important word. That's been up this year. Metabolizing things, yeah. Takes time, unfortunately. At least it does for now. Maybe next dimension it won't take any time at all. Yeah.
Thank you, Danielle. It was very great, and I think everybody's now looking forward to meet your new program. I will definitely be there. Let's see. Let's meet in the future. We were gonna meet at RAH Live in New York, so I'm gonna say hello to you.
You're going? Oh,
I'm
it's
going.
gonna be great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's left, and it's her last year, and oh, great.
I think I was one of the first people booking, you know.
Awesome. Well, then I'll see you in New York.
I see you in New York, and thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you, and looking forward to meet you in person one day.
See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.